strange and obscure Pokemon facts that might just blow your mind. That's what this video is all about, and I have got some good ones for you, so let's get right into it. In Pokemon Colosseum, there is actually a line of text programmed into the game that is nearly impossible to come across. So in the game, you have a PC where you can obviously store your Pokemon just like the main series games, but it's actually impossible to completely fill up the PC since there are no wild Pokemon in this game. Almost impossible, that is. The game gives you 90 spots to use in the PC, but due to the limited number of Pokemon that you can actually obtain, you can never have more than 54 in the PC at one time. Unless, that is, you were to repeatedly trade for Nincada and then evolve them into Ninjask and Shedinja. Strangely, this is the only way in the game to increase the number of owned Pokemon up to that maximum PC capacity of 90. But even still, the game actually accounted for this scenario, because if you try to catch a Shadow Pokemon after completely filling up your PC box this way, a line of text will appear that says, "The box is full, you can't snag any more Pokemon." That is the only way that you can possibly see this text displayed in-game, and even though it's just text, it's still pretty wild. Speaking of the PC though, we all know that Bill is the inventor of the Pokemon storage system, and many know that due to him being a computer expert, he was most likely named after Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, which makes for a nice little Easter egg. But did you know that there's also a reference to Apple in these games as well? The sprite of the PC in the Gen 1 games is actually a reference to the original Apple Macintosh, as its appearance is essentially identical to the Mac. In Generation 2, at the Goldenrod Game Corner, there is a man playing one of the slot machines that makes a comment about how he believes that the machine he's playing on pays out more than the others. Now, while this sounds like pretty generic flavor text for a guy in a casino area, the thing is, he's actually right. The slot machine this guy plays on is set up to always have better odds of paying out than the other ones, and while this guy is using the machine most of the time, it will actually be free in the mornings for you to enjoy the enhanced odds yourself. Also in the Johto games is an interesting scenario that many players probably missed. So while you're in Cianwood City, you probably have ran into the guy that gives you his Shuckle for safekeeping, since your rival recently showed up and took one of his Pokemon. Upon receiving Shuckle, most players probably considered this a gift Pokemon, left, and then never bothered returning to this house again. The thing is though, if you do come back to this house on a different day after receiving Shuckle and then talk to this guy again, he will actually ask for his Shuckle back, and you will be able to give it to him. If the Shuckle's friendship is high enough though, he will also mention this and then actually let you keep the Pokemon, which overall is a pretty cool and interesting scenario that I think some people have probably missed over the years. This next one isn't really super hidden or anything, but it's a pretty cool detail that you could also pretty easily not pick up on if you weren't paying attention, so I wanted to bring it up. In Pokemon Black and White, Professor Juniper provides you with a catching tutorial at the beginning of the game, and during the tutorial, she catches a Patrat. Now, during Gen 5, we were all probably just mashing A through this entire thing because we already knew how to catch Pokemon at that point, and then afterwards, many of us most likely just proceeded forwards without a second thought. However, if you return to Juniper's lab after this tutorial, you can actually see this same Patrat that she caught in the tutorial walking around in the lab. And then in Black and White 2, it also evolves and becomes a Watchog, which I honestly thought was pretty cool. And what's also pretty cool is today's sponsor, Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. These subscription boxes bring Japanese goodies right to your door every month, allowing you to get a taste of Japan without even having to leave your house. Tokyo Treat provides modern treats like special flavored Kit Kats, potato chips, and even soda, and it all has that authentic Japanese flavor, while Sakura Co is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that gives you a more traditional cultural experience with snacks and treats that come straight from Japan. In fact, everything in both of these boxes comes straight from Japan, with Tokyo Treat's theme this month being Osaka Snackathon, while Sakura Co's theme is Heart of Ishikawa. You even get some authentic chopsticks in the Sakura Co box this month as well, which is super nice. So if you would like to grab either of these boxes for yourself, you can do so with the links in the description below, and you can also use the code HOOPS for $5 off your first box. It even supports the channel when you do so, so it's super appreciated, so be sure to check it out, and a big thank you to Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co for supporting the channel. In Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, there are some items that are tucked so unbelievably out of the way that most players would not even know of their existence, let alone how to obtain them. The Dragon Fang, the Silver Powder, and the Black Belt are 3 items that were introduced in Gen 2 that are also obtainable in Gen 3, but to get them in Gen 3, you have got to put in some serious playtime. The only way that you can get any of these items in the Hoenn games is by using the move Thief to steal them off a specific trainer's Pokemon, which already means that about 99% of players are not going to find these items, since the games don't even give you any indication that they're there in the first place. The Dragon Fang comes from Dragon Tamer Nicholas's Shelgon at Meteor Falls, the Silver Powder can be obtained from Bug Maniac Brandon's Masquerain on Route 120, and the Black Belt comes from Black Belt Knob's Machamp on Route 115. However, it's not actually that simple, because you can also only get these items from these trainers and their Pokemon after battling and rematching them at least 4 times. And as much as I love how obscure and out of the way this is, that might be a little much for just a Black Belt and a Dragon Fang. Also in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald is something really cool that really shouldn't have been changed. So we all know that Zangoose and Seviper are notorious rivals of one another, but many might have missed that this even extends into their designs. For example, Zangoose has red markings on its body, while Seviper's fangs and sharp tail are also colored red. Seviper, meanwhile, has purple markings on its body, while Zangoose's claws in Generation 3 are also colored purple, meaning that these markings are actually scars that were inflicted by the other Pokemon. And this even lines up with their shiny colors as well, which is like the coolest design detail ever. Sadly though, Game Freak changed the color of Zangoose's claws in Generation 4 and ruined this connection, which is honestly a total shame. Also, shout out to Loxton for noticing this one in one of his recent videos. I thought it was really cool and deserved to be highlighted some more. Next, I've got some really cool stuff from the recent Pokemon leaks to share. We have learned a lot of really fascinating things thanks to these leaks, but one thing I don't think anybody expected is that Torchic was a bug type at one point, at least in all likelihood. One of the beta Pokemon that was revealed as a part of this leak was this little fella, who is known as Pyoko. There is no type data available for this Pokemon, but it is somewhat insect-like just based on appearance alone, and there was even developer feedback attached to this Pokemon in the leaks that said they wanted it to look even more bug-like as well. So it clearly seems like this Pokemon was destined to be a bug type. But the thing is, this Pokemon also became Torchic as well. You've probably already noticed a visual similarity to Torchic by now, and additionally, the name of this Pokemon, Pyoko, is very similar to one of Torchic's early names, which was Fioko. So, TLDR, the origins of Torchic's design most likely involve it being a bug type at one point, which is so wildly unexpected, but also so insanely cool. That is just the tip of the iceberg though, because I've now got something to discuss that's arguably even crazier than a bug-type Torchic, because it seems to possibly be the case that Game Freak was potentially making a direct reference to a beta Pokemon in one of their recent games. So within the leaks, these two flower-themed Pokemon were revealed, with this one evolving into the other. The evolution is specifically known as the Red Spider Lily Pokemon, thanks to a dex entry of it that was leaked a little while ago that we can now connect back to this design. With that said, even though I can't say that this is 100% without a doubt a confirmed fact, it seems pretty likely that this Pokemon was a precursor to the Ralts family, and that the Ralts family directly took over the role of these beta Pokemon. And there are two things that really make this stand out as a legit possibility. The first is that in some developer notes that are tied to this Pokemon in the leak, it mentions it having the ability to sense the emotions of others, which is exactly the kind of thing that the Ralts line do, with it even being mentioned in their various Pokedex entries. The second reason this is a likely thing though has to do with Wally, because as we know, the Ralts line are his signature Pokemon, and in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, when we see Wally at Victory Road, the area where we encounter him is covered in red spider lily flowers, which, along with everything else I've just mentioned, makes it very possible that this could be an homage of sorts to Wally's signature Pokemon, and its origin as a Pokemon that was based on these exact flowers, giving us all a glimpse at the history of Pokemon and a literal beta Pokemon design without us even realizing it. You will have to let me know your thoughts on all of that though, as well as on the rest of these facts in the comments below, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and until the next video, as always, I will smell you guys later.